Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. Okay, continuing with Mishna Yevamot. We're on the 7th chapter, Mishnah Vav. Tonight, Shiur Lishmat Yitzchak Cohen Bar David and Menashe Ben Zaken Ben Jimon Tinasham to Rabbi Tzorah Chaim. So the last Mishnah in Perek Zayin. The previous Mishnah we taught that even a mamzer has the ability to enable his grandmother through a very strange set of marriages to eat terumah. And this Mishnah, we're going to see how a Kohen Gadol can somehow disqualify his grandmother from eating terumah. So how is the case? So one last of the confusing ones, and we go into a little bit of an easier period of Mishnah. Kohen Gadol, pe'amim shu posel. Even a Kohen Gadol can disqualify his grandmother from eating terumah. Ketzad, how so? Bat Kohen de Israel, you have a Jewish Kohen girl who married a Yisrael, a non-Kohen. V'yalda hemenu bat. And they had a daughter. V'alcha habat v'niset leKohen. And that daughter went and married a Kohen. V'yalda hemenu ben. And they had a son. So the daughter was not a Kohen, but they had a son who who married a Kohen, so the son is technically a Kohen. The grandson of the first pair is a Kohen. Hareze, this son, this grandson now, Ra'ui liot Kohen Gadol, he could be a Kohen Gadol. If it works out in his favor, he could be Kohen Gadol. Omed umshamesh al gabei mizbeach, who stands to serve on top of the mizbeach. And therefore the law is as follows. Ma'achilet imo, he enables his mother, who is a daughter of a Yisrael, to eat terumah, and that's even after his father dies, because he is her child from a Kohen. So he can enable his mom, who is not Kohen, to eat. Uposel et emimo. But here's the purpose of the Mishnah. He disqualifies his mother's mother, who was a Kohen's daughter, from eating terumah, because she has a grandchild from her Yisrael's husband. Bezot omeret, and the grandmother would say, Lo kivni Kohen Gadol, let there not be like my son or my grandson who's a Kohen Gadol, shehu posleni mina terumah, who disqualifies me from eating terumah. Very interesting case over there, how a grandson Kohen can be posel the grandmother. Okay, Mishnah Aleph Perek Chet, new Perek. He'arel v'chol hatemeim lo yochlu terumah. An uncircumcised Kohen and all the Kohanim who are tameh cannot eat terumah. Neshehen ve'avdehen yochelu b'terumah. But their wives and their slaves could eat terumah because since their husband is, or the master is a full-fledged Kohen, okay, just because he can't personally eat terumah because he's impure, they could eat terumah. Petzua daka uchrut shofcha. We're going to get a few Mishnayot talking about this. A Kohen that who's petzua daka, he has wounded testicles, or chrut shofcha is he has a severed member. So his reproductive organ is severed. These individuals are forbidden to marry Jewish girls of proper lineage. So hen uve'avdehen yochelu. They and their slaves can eat terumah because they don't lose their Kohen status from theirs. However, neshehen lo yochelu. But the wives that they took cannot eat terumah because a woman who cohabits with a person who she's forbidden to is forever disqualified from eating terumah. Ve'im lo yeda'a mishena asa petzua daka uchru shofcha. If the Kohen, did not live with her when his testicles were wounded or his member was severed, then these wives could eat terumah, meaning if it happened afterwards, they could eat. She could eat terumah because when she got married to him, it was fine. Now, ezeu petzua daka. The Mishnah gets a little graphic. Who is considered a man with wounded testicles? Kol sheniftzeu abetzim shelo. Anyone whose testicles have been crushed or ruined in such a way that he can no longer father children. Va'afilu achat mehen, even if it's just one of the testicles. Uchrut shofcha, what is the definition of a man with a severed member? Kol shenichra tagid, as long as any part of the member has been severed, that's called krut shofcha. However, ve'im nishtayer me'atara afilu kechut asara, if the injury is at the top, but the top of the member remains even just a small amount, then kasher, he's still fit to marry a Jewess of proper lineage. Petzua daka uchrut shofcha mutarin begioret umshuchreret. A man who has wounded testicles or has a severed member are allowed to marry a Jewish convert or a Canaanite slave woman who was freed. Ve'enan asurin ela milavo bakahal. They're only forbidden from entering the Jewish nation by marrying a girl with proper yichus. Shneimar, like the pasuk says, lo yavo petzua daka uchrut shofcha bikal Hashem, that they cannot enter the Kal Hashem. Speaking of other people that cannot enter the Jewish nation, Mishnah Gimel says, Amoni u'Moavi asurim, Jewish converts from the nations of Ammon and Moab are forbidden to marry a Jewish girl of proper lineage. Ve'isuran isur olam, and that's something that is everlasting. So meaning this convert and his son and this grandson, they're all forbidden. Aval nekevotehem mutarot miyad. The Ammoni and Moavi females are permitted to Jewish men immediately upon their conversion. And of course, we know the most famous one is Ruth, Moavi v'lo Moavia. Ruth was a convert and married right into Jewish nation. Mitzri, converts from Egypt, Va'adomi, and Edom, Enam asurim ela ad shlosha dorot. They are only forbidden up to 3 generations. So if the person converts, he's not allowed. His son is not allowed, but his grandson is allowed. The 3rd generation can go. Echad zecharim ve'echad nekevot. Both males and females are included in the prohibition when it comes for the Egyptian converts. Now, Rabbi Shimon matir et nekevot miyad. Rabbi Shimon, he allows Egyptian female converts to be permitted right away. He doesn't say you need to wait to the 3rd generation. And he explains by a Kal Vachomer. Amar Rabbi Shimon, Kal Vachomer adevarim. You can learn this from a Kal Vachomer. U'ma'im b'makom she'asar zecharim isur. With regards to the case of Ammon and Moab, which we prohibited the males, Isur olam, forever. Hitiret hanekevot miyad, the women were allowed to marry right away, like Ruth. Makom shelo asar et hazecharim ela ad shelosha dorot eno din shenatir et hanekevot miyad. If the Egyptians were only prohibiting for 3 generations, then for sure I'm going to allow the ladies to enter right away. Amru lo, the Chachamim told Rabbi Shimon, im halacha nekabel. If you received that law as tradition, we'll accept it. Ve'im ladin yesh teshuvah. But if it's only based on logic, there's actually a counter-reaction to the Kal Vachomer. I can refute your Kal Vachomer because the Torah actually explains why Ammon and Moab were forbidden to join the Jewish nation, because they failed to greet them with lechem u'bamayim. They didn't greet them with bread and water. Now that's only the fault of the men that didn't greet them. The women are not expected to go out and greet travelers. So since the women of Ammon and Moab did nothing wrong, so they're able to marry right away, say the Chachamim. But when it comes to converts from Egypt and Edom, there's no basis to make a differentiation between the males and the females. So Chachamim would say, they have to wait 3 generations. Amar lahem, Rabbi Shimon answered them, Loki, it's not so, okay? Because the Ammon and Moab women did fail, and that they should have greeted the Jewish women. You're right, they shouldn't have greeted the Jewish men, but they should have greeted the Jewish women, and therefore my kal vachomer stands strong. And not only that, halacha ani omed. I'm saying it with from tradition that this is what I've heard. So therefore the chachamim accepted it. And the last halacha in Mishnah Gimel, mamzerin untinin asurin. Mamzerim and the natin is the descendants of the Gibeonim who are asur to marry, are forbidden to marry Jewish girls of proper lineage. Ve'isuran isur olam. Their prohibition is everlasting. Echad zecharim ve'echad nekevot, and that's both males and females.